Welcome to our 5 on 5. I'm pleased to be joined today by Democratic Jackson County Commissioner candidate Denise Krause. Denise, thank you so much for being here. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
So in the interest of maximizing our time, I'm going to give a little background on you.
Okay.
You moved to rural Ashland several years ago. You're a small business owner and farmer. Before that, you had a 25-year career as a healthcare executive in Mississippi. You have a PhD in preventive medicine. 2 years ago, we did this interview when you were running against Commissioner Rick Dyer. Now you're on the Rogue Valley Transportation District Board. People might know you from Jackson County for All, the measures. You're the driving force behind that in the spring. All of those were rejected by voters, save for one, but it was tied to, that was commissioner salaries. It was tied to another measure, so it can't take effect. If you're elected, is that still something you'd like to see, commissioners in Jackson County be nonpartisan?
Oh, I would definitely like to see that happen. And the main reason for that is in a primary election, none of the non-affiliated voters or the other kinds of non-major party voters, they cannot vote in the primary at all for that one position. So to make it nonpartisan would allow the largest voting bloc also to participate in the election.
Yeah, that's what we see in Klamath and Josephine County, in case people don't know that. It's common in Oregon. It's
in most of the other Oregon counties. It's just a matter of time.
So Jackson County voters, I'm sure you know this, haven't elected a Democrat to commissioner since 2006. You've called yourself more fiscally conservative than the current all-Republican board. Can you give us an example of something maybe they've done recently that you would have been more fiscally conservative on?
Well, certainly, yeah. So we keep hearing that we can't afford an animal shelter and we can't afford a jail, but then we were able to afford a close to $70 million pandemic response center that's going to be at the expo. That was a decision made without any public input. It was one of those behind closed doors decisions. We received $40 million in COVID relief funds, and other counties and cities had a public input process about how that would be spent. Jackson County is the only one that didn't have any public input into that and decided that we would build this close to $70 million pandemic response center, which turns out to be a recreation center similar to the Rogue X in Medford, which was just recently built, that has 8 basketball courts, and so does this. So the problem with that is that we didn't have any input, we didn't have any process, and that was $40 million of COVID funds plus another $30 million or so from our general fund. So this is a problem that, and this is a big part of why I'm running, is that we need more transparency into how our tax dollars are being spent. We are all paying taxes and the taxes continue to go up. The services seem to continue to be cut. Now I got to remind you, add on, the commissioners raise their own salaries every year as well. So, you know, the taxes are going up, the salaries are going up, the services seem to be being cut. So I feel like we need a representation for the taxpayers on the Board of Commissioners. I will be a watchdog for the taxpayers. I am not funded by special interests. I'm funded all by individual donors, as opposed to my opponent, who has a lot more money than me, but I'm an independent voice. My campaign is funded by individuals and powered by the people, and so we're quite a contrast that way. It's hard to compete, you know, with that money that they're pouring into it. It's the establishment. I'm not part of the establishment.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We'll have much more with Denise in just a moment.
Okay.
Stay with us. Welcome back to our 5 on 5. We're going to hear with Jackson County Democratic Commissioner candidate Denise Krause. We talked a lot about your background and a little bit of something with fiscal conservativeness with the commission. You mentioned the jail. I have to ask, because that's something Jackson County is clearly pushing toward getting on the ballot again. In 2020, it was rejected by voters right at the start of the pandemic. People were, you know, worried about the economy perhaps. So how do you think, if you were elected commissioner, you would handle this issue?
So my opponent is on the jail political action committee team. It's a small group meeting, again, behind closed doors. The jail solution that they're proposing would result in a 76% or so increase in all of our taxes. So it's been found that that's obviously not going to pass. Who can afford that? So I'm actually uniquely qualified to handle the issues that are putting the pressures on the jail, which is the mental health crisis, the addiction treatment services, we need more of that, homelessness and the housing crisis, affordability. So all of these issues that are putting the pressures, and also the lack of resources in the courts, putting the pressures on the jail that says, well, we need a bigger jail. But if we're not going to get that, we need to be working on these problems that are causing that need for a bigger jail. I am the person who does that. I've been doing that. That's my career. I bring a background in health and human services. My opponent's background is in law enforcement. We've been trying to do it with law enforcement for many, many years, and we're just not getting there. It's sort of like a game of whack-a-mole, moving the problem. Let's move the problem from here to here. We're not reducing the problem. We're not solving the problem.
So would you want a smaller jail, or is it's don't look there, fix the situation around?
Since we're not getting a jail right now, let's start working. Let me come in and let's start working on the mental health challenges, on the addiction challenges. Let's work on these things that are actually the root causes for why we're needing a bigger jail.
Okay.
And then we'll know better about what size jail we need and what would be the best solution for that. But I will bring people in, the stakeholders, the experts, the community input into to the discussion so we can come up with creative solutions.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here. I certainly wish we had more time. There's so much to discuss, but thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.